abundance, and I'm so excited to make an English video. It's totally spontaneous. I was going to try to instantaneously translate my previous German video into English because I'm still trying to figure out how to provide for two languages, like for German and for English, and I don't know if I can do this for like long term, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna try with minimal editing. So because I get overwhelmed with the time and the work it takes to actually do every single topic video in English and German. So, but I really want to, but it seems like I can't, but like I'm trying. I'm just saying, I'm trying. So I'm going to instantaneously translate, and I'm going to listen to myself talk in German, and we're just gonna try, right? You can't lose by trying. So I'm sorry if this is a little bit awkward or something. we gotta slow this down, oh my gosh. So the question of Maria is, so I'm just gonna read it to you. I really teared up when I found your channel because I felt like I found what I've always searched for. The last years I was also high carb, and I also did like detox and medical medium, raw vegan, Dr. Moore's. But somehow my symptoms, they just got worse. Especially the adrenal fatigue, and then the bad brain fog, physical exhaustion, weak bladder, ear congestions, and I'm just 20, what the fuck. Earring problems, eye floaters, eye vision problems, and many more. And I just did all of this to heal everything, but it just got worse, and I really don't know what to do anymore. And now, until now, where I found your videos. But how to do it, I just really don't know how to do it. And I'm eating a lot of dates and bananas and potatoes and rice. I always eat about 15 to 200 calories. But I don't know how to get rid of, how to get away from the huge fruit meals and water-rich meals. I always make a smoothie of around 1,000 calories in the morning. And then also potatoes and everything for dinner, and then I feel full but not satiated. And then I'm always getting to up to 2,500 and 3,000 calories. But when I put this into chronometer, but I don't really notice any improvement. It's just getting worse. I had a little bit more energy when I was completely raw. Do you have an idea what this could be about? Maybe it's too much water and too much fiber, ? So that not all of the calories can be absorbed? Well, but I really feel dehydrated, as I said. And I just can't eat only potatoes and rice all the time. So how was this in your recovery? This is really hard. Let me know how you like it so far. Please give me a like if you could imagine doing this, like watching this kind of instantaneous translation generally, like in every video. So Maria, thank you for your question and for your feedback about my videos. I really got goosebumps that my videos are touching you that much, and I'm just so happy that there are some people that my content is really catering to so much. That's why I do it. So all in all, you can see that the calorie deficit by all the detox phases and raw vegan phases, which is often combined with orthorexia, not always but often, and restriction. And by all of that, her metabolism got very low. Like detox, Dr. Moore's, adrenal fatigue, memory issues, thyroid issues, chronic fatigue, constipation, and like low libido, and so many, and amenorrhea, like no period. I really got them all as well. Yeah, in my case that was because I was in a chronic calorie deficit, which I didn't know it really was because I thought I ate enough. I just knew that in my case it really was the cause, because I reversed all of my symptoms by reversing the calorie deficit, like no calorie deficit anymore. And that is not a short-term thing, but you have, you know, it takes some time. Please look up my vegan health crisis timeline. I'll put the link in the description. There you can see all the symptoms. Yeah, so the first point is it's really important to know that you can only recover from this and these symptoms by reversing the calorie deficit, getting rid of it, eating enough. And then, no, it's not easy, but you just have to do it. Like, it's not easy. You can believe me, I'm talking from experience. But yeah, actually it is that simple. As I just said, just do it. Eating enough, no excuses. It doesn't matter how afraid you are of it, and just by facing that fear, you are going to lose that fear. And also your body is going to lose that fear of starving, because your body is literally thinking that it is starving. That is why it is lowering the metabolism. And just by doing that, your body is going to stop. By you doing that, your body is going to stop to make all these metabolic adaptations and hormonal adaptations and stuff. If by this calorie deficit you developed an eating disorder because of the biological genetic predisposition, then that will be like the hardest thing to do in recovery. But there's really no way around it. It's not only about the recovery of the metabolism, but also about the mental recovery primarily. And only if you have both, you are going to be truly recovered. And you're also going to be protected of relapse, and you're going to be healthy on all levels. And you can also think of other things than just eating or not eating, which is... And just as important, it is to pay attention to your energy, how much energy you're expending. Like especially the people who are a little bit obsessed with moving or exercise. And it doesn't really matter if it's real exercise or just walking. That's the so-called lower level movement. So some people, they excuse themselves by saying, well, I'm just walking, but if you're walking for 3 hours a day, you're just kidding yourself. So it's all about that relative energy balance. It doesn't matter if you're eating too little or burning too much. What's under, what's the relative balance is what's essential. So in recovery, for full recovery, it's inevitable to lose all fears of all macros. I also have a long way behind me, and I'm really able to say that I have zero fear of fats now, like dietary fats. Indeed, also of oil. And I do think that's important for full recovery, like for finding the true food freedom. Because also processed non-whole foods, you have to be able to eat also processed foods, not only whole foods. And for example, oil, I don't use it myself. I don't need it, and I don't believe in like health benefits per se. But I will eat foods that contain them from time to time, or when someone is cooking for me. And in the end, at the end of the day, it's still, it's still part of a plant that came in nature. It's not like our body just doesn't know what to do with it at all. It might not be optimal, but it's not like sometimes we think, or many of us think in eating disorders, well, my body's going to freak out and doesn't know what to do with it, but it can, and the only one who's freaking out is us. So it's all about that mental and social freedom that you need to be able to fully recover and getting out of all of your eating disorder voices. So what's in it for you if you practice like the perfect paleo diet, like natural diet, but then you're living in the real world where all of these non-whole processed foods are readily available all of the time, and you're just pretending like they aren't existing in the real world, but they are in the reality. Yeah, even though they're not growing on the tree. So you can't pretend like they don't exist, but they do exist. You can pretend and act like the reality is not real, but you do still live in the reality. You will always be part of the reality. And mental restriction, like self-discipline and self-control, or self-harming even, and like your own will, your willpower, they are finite, like you don't have endless of them. And if you are just relying on these, you will experience a health imbalance long term. So the physical and mental health always work together, always. If one of them fails and falls, the whole health is decreasing. Like nutrition, movement, sleep, but also mental relaxation and balance and peace, they all contribute to our whole health. So the whole picture is key. So back to the fear of macronutrients. Like whole food fats like avocados, nuts and seeds, I do consume daily to my heart's content. Just like I really feel like, according to my appetite. It really doesn't matter to me what percentage I am hitting or not. So, and that's what's decisive about what I want to say. But it's automatically no huge part. So I'm still high carb if you really want to label it like that. But it really doesn't matter to me what exact percentage it is in my diet. So roughly you can say earlier, like former I ate 10 to 15% and now it's like rather like 15-ish to 30-ish %, just roughly, really roughly. So sometimes it could be 10 or sometimes it could be 50%, like it changes day by day, but just roughly it's like relatively clear that it's different from before because I'm just following my appetite and I'm not restricting on that macronutrient, you know, but at the same time it's not like huge because, yeah, you know what I mean. If not, tell me in the comments. So long term you really want to practice like intuitive eating, but now you're not able to, you know, you still have to learn it, you still have to find the trust to your body and vice versa. So because now in recovery, most of the time you don't have enough hunger signals in order to for you to decide what you're really feeling like, because the ED voice is also usually too loud and, you know, manipulating. And so that's where processed foods can be helpful, as long as they are not full of, you know, preservatives and stuff. Yeah, because that helps you to eat enough. Because in recovery you can also have a lot of bloating and stuff if you eat. You cannot digest so like very much volume and waterish stuff yet. So yeah, it's not really necessary for the physical health, of course, but so theoretically you can just recover physically by just eating whole foods, but real recovery is about also mentally recovering. And let me tell you that processed foods are not going to harm you in any way. If you eat them on top of an otherwise whole foods diet, you are not going to be harmed by them in any way, shape or form. And it's really about the mental part of recovery as well, because otherwise you're always going to be in that mental risk to relapse because you haven't recovered on all levels. So like 15-ish to 30-ish%, which is still, mind you, high carb or low fat. So that's kind of also the default in nature when you're eating plant-based. Independently from like how many fats you want, like some like more, some like less, but just for you to roughly know where what I have been doing in recovery. And because Maria asked me, I just really wanted to go into this, and I really feel so great with this, like with my way of eating now. But that doesn't mean I don't go and hone in on watermelon alone, like just watermelon, like a mono meal. So it's not like I have to, like I love watermelon. It's not like, oh, I have to have fat with everything because, yeah, I don't know, because I'm not going to be full or satiated. So that's nonsense. It's just my appetite decides what I'm going to eat. And that's just so mind-blowing for me because I was so afraid. And I really had to rewire so much neurally in my brain by just facing that fear, and thereby structuring and rewiring how my brain thinks about it. And yeah, I can recommend a German book by Nico Rittenau, who explains the choosing foods over macros in his book. And I'm really just saying this in this video because it was an essential part of my recovery. And I really think that if you are cutting out whole food groups within a vegan or plant-based diet, that you are going to experience health issues long term, somehow, in some way or form, sometime along down the road. If you like this, let me know. And just even only for the neural rewiring the mental recovery, it is so essential and vital to lose all fear of all macros, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck in that restriction bubble no matter what you do, no matter what your weight is. It really is that way. So just a little side fact, fun fact, 100 years ago we didn't even know what macronutrients are, and that we even have to know about them and that they even exist. So they're really just part of the diet and fitness culture and industry that really has just brainwashed our brains. And they just made us believe that it's so important to know all of these numbers and percentages and stuff. And our job in recovery is to just wash our brain clean of these things. A healthy physique, body and mind and soul and spirit and whatever does not need any of this information, like any of these numbers that we are made to believe we need. But yeah, we think we do need them. And that's how we teach our brains that it's important to know all of these numbers, because we have been hyper-focusing on these numbers for weeks, months, years, decades, a lifelong even for some. So yeah, what we do day in, day out is, yeah, what's important. It's how we teach our brain what is important for it to focus on. So that's why we're always thinking about these numbers and eating, and we feel compulsive about, you know, tracking and counting and stuff. Not good. So if it's hard for you to get rid of rules and percentages and stuff, believe me, I know how hard it is. When you've been like holding on to words that some doctor said online for years, but you don't actually belong to the target group of them. So that's what we need to reverse and override and to unlearn. And in hopes to take away some of the fear for you, in my experience, my eating fats to my heart's content according to my appetite during and after the meals only did good for me and my body, period. Yeah. So long story short, yeah, in your place, Maria, instead of eating even more potatoes and stuffing yourself with more rice, I just try to increase the calorie density, and not necessarily with even more carbs, because it doesn't really work for you, but they are really good for you. And like, I eat these foods in huge quantities daily, still, nothing changed. Yeah, but that you include more of the food groups that you avoided so far in your plant-based diet. Yeah. Your adrenals, your hormones, your thyroid, your metabolism, your satiation signals, they will thank you for it. And if you have hormonal issues like loss of period, amenorrhea, hypothalamic amenorrhea, then all of this is going to be even more beneficial for you. So now, it can be that you're afraid of the higher calorie density of your meals. So for me, that was the case. To step away from the volume eating, the huge volume meals, huge water-rich meals, to be full, but it doesn't mean, like you're right, that you're satiated. So that's exactly what we don't want. We want to be satisfied and satiated, not only full. And I'm just making 2 long sentences. But to get away from that is exactly what will lead you where you want to go. Namely, that you can trust your body. That you're not only relying on your volume receptors anymore, but also the macro and energy and micronutrient receptors. Because we have all of these satiation receptors. So in short, that you can feel comfortably full and satisfied without just stuffing yourself full with volume. So just please, I really want to know, comment below what's your experience with that. And so the last thing I'm gonna say is dehydration. That's also going with what I said before. So as you probably know, every gram of carbs is storing around 4 grams of water. The more carbs and fiber we eat, the more we need for digestion and hydration, and that's a good thing. So don't think, oh no, I'm gonna gain weight by eating more carbs. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a reason the body is doing that, and that's a good reason. But there can be a problem in recovery when you're eating so much more than your body is used to, and sometimes you have a condition called gastroparesis. I have suffered from this a lot. So that's like a slower digestion, the emptying of the stomach and the intestines. And so that means when you're eating so healthy in recovery, it's going to be a struggle for many, and it's going to be too much for the body to handle because it's not used to it. It's a good thing that the body does that, but for example, if you eat not enough fats, for example, then you have like too much of a good thing in terms of carbs, for example, because you make it harder than it has to be for your body in that situation of recovery. And also eating too low salt, also in my experience, can be a problem, especially when I had adrenal fatigue. Like instantaneously I noticed feeling better, and I had less, like I was less thirsty, even though I was eating more salt. So that was just a couple of dashes in comparison to 0 salt before. So just saying, because so many think like salt is so horrible for you, but that's just nonsense. And so the less salt you eat, when you eat 0 salt, you are going to notice like bloating and water retention. Your body's going to react in an extreme way. My body doesn't hold on to water anymore when I'm eating salt, because I'm eating it regular, just in very tiny doses, you know, but just not 0. And I really don't notice any water retention when I, you know, go out to eat and eat more salt than usual. And that was different when I was eating 0 salt. And just excuse me while I sweat because it's so hot. So it usually shouldn't be the case that the body is really holding on to the salt if it is in homeostasis. Dehydration at the end of the day is often a symptom of a homeostasis that is out of balance. Even a too much of water can be dehydrating. Because, and I'm really emphasizing this because most of what we hear is actually the opposite. You can't drink too much, you can't eat too little salt, and that's not really reflected well, and it's too absolutistic. And I really make an effort to not talk so absolutistically anymore, because it's most of the time extremes that are not right 100%, and it's just about a balance in the body. And that's why many athletes they have a problem, like, and many die of dehydration because they don't have enough electrolytes to counter all of the water coming in that moment. So especially when it's going hand in hand with other factors. So hydration is not only a matter of how much water you drink, but also if you have the minerals and compounds that are needed for your body to hydrate itself. So, because otherwise the water is just going to flow right through you. So that was a lot of information. Now I hope it helped a lot. Please subscribe, activate the bell, all that jazz, and share, and stay tuned for my coming video, which is already work in progress. And especially please let me know how you liked this style of me doing the English video, translating from a German video. Let me know. Be really honest. I'm not looking for someone to, you know, just compliment me. Just be really honest, because I really want to know if it's an authentic and enjoyable and fun and helpful way and doable way for this channel long term. Yeah, let me know, and I see you. And sorry this video was so long.